you never really see that. You never see where there's 5 amazing players. You never see them kind of come together and just be amazing. Um, Usually it will be teams kind of like, for example, something like Fnatic in the last season, where they've kind of got, maybe a little bit weaker players here, a little bit weaker players
Yeah.
there, and it all just kind of works out, and the synergy happens to be there, and that's really what makes them the amazing team, and that does seem to happen quite often in these solo queue legends tournaments, to be completely
Yeah.
honest.
We are heading into the pick and ban phase with Blue Side getting the first ban. They take away Zed. Um, Maybe I don't know. Zed is pretty much like it could have been a targeted ban, but it's definitely
Yeah.
a champion that's not.
It's one of those champions that does definitely stomp the lower
Yeah,
elo
for
games,
sure.
and it's a dangerous pick, sort of like LeBlanc,
Hmm.
But the thing is, you don't know exactly who's playing mid for these guys. You don't know
Yeah.
who's playing top. You don't know who's playing what.
Hmm.
For example, So Jaded, another player in the tournament from University of Toronto esports team, he's the support player for that team, but I don't think he's going to be playing support, in this tournament.
Yeah, we do see Fiddlesticks and Kog'Maw being taken away. Kog'Maw is actually a prominent pick in Korea right now in solo queue. But
Oh, for
Malphite,
sure, yeah.
Malphite. I mean, every single week that you watch LCS, you'll see a Malphite top. So I think it's definitely become sort of like the niche right now. But we also might see a Poppy. That's probably going to be picked up in this game for sure. Tom Kench also taken away. He's it's Tom Kench. It's
Something to say about the Malphite is he's one of those champions that you do feel comfortable putting maybe your lower elo player on
yeah,
as well,
yeah,
because all he needs to do is kind of get through lane phase, and it doesn't matter how much CS he has, he's still going to do the same job. He's going to press R, he's going to be tanky, he's going to
yeah.
slow attack speed. So interesting to take that away. Maybe they know that they were relying on that. Maybe they have a low elo player. Interesting if they're kind of focusing that low elo player ban. Maybe that could be part of the strategy.
Ooh, at least being picked up, one of the most prominent junglers right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Super strong.
Super strong with that stun lock and just great mobility around the jungle. But maybe we might see a Kindred on the other side to kind of
Yeah.
get that counter jungle on, because that's what really stops a good jungler. Counter jungling is what really puts them behind. And
Yeah. I
Nidalee
feel
being
like
picked up, which is a good pickup.
I feel like Nidalee, very similar to actually Kindred, is very good at 1v1ing,
Hmm.
whereas Elise is more of a 2v2 jungler. Um, and that's pretty, if you can get into Elise's jungle as a 1v1 jungler like Nidalee, then you can prevent her from getting to a situation where she would have those strong 2v2s. That's one of the only ways to really counter something like Elise. That's one of the reasons she's so strong. She's just, if you put yourself in a lane swap situation or any kind of opportunity to really just pick which lane you want to fight around, you're able to just really dominate the map. You can control vision, you can control pressure. She's just so strong with her kit, and hopefully with AWildMimo on Nidalee, he can try and abuse a little bit of Nidalee's kit.
We did see the Ezreal being locked in alongside that Nidalee, and then Tristana and Leona being picked up as well for the opposing team on the blue side. We do see the Master Yi hover. It might be a little bit of a comfort pick, but the Morgana gets locked in
The new
instead.
Shen as well.
Shen top lane. They're going to have a lot of map presence
Hmm.
with that 2v2 that might turn 3v2 or 3v3 that might turn 4v3. So I think they need to pick up a top laner that's got good top presence, that's able to put Shen behind,
Hmm.
and also obviously grab a TP. I mean, Poppy would work here because, or Darius. That's
Mm.
that's sure you can get a good early start, but late game you're not going to really be doing a whole
Yeah.
lot.
Thing is, if you take a look at this purple team here, not a whole lot of damage.
It's true.
It's kind of like they're building around an Ezreal. It could be a Morgana mid, and she's very strong in the mid game and in the early game as well. But late game, not so much. Turns into more of that support. Same thing kind of with the Shen.
Okay.
Interesting. Not great against a Iceborne Gauntlet Ezreal, if that's the path that he decides to go. But that's one of the things that I actually love about the solo queue tournament as well, is that you see kind of a little bit older picks, a little bit off-meta picks. So something like Ezreal, definitely something that this guy just probably loves playing. Same thing with, Govlove on that Leona. Still a strong champion. You just don't see it very much in the LCS or anything like that. Yeah, so it does look like they're going for very much a kitey kind of protect the Israel
Yeah.
comp here.
Hmm.
They've got a lot of siege as well. Great thing is that every time you hit a binding, you get a free spear, and you can follow that up with either the shockwave or you put the ball on somebody.
Hmm.
You can have like for example, you could have Nidalee have the ball on her, and then you could have a Shen ult on her, and they can do something like that. But um, I really do feel like there is a lot of damage lacking if it goes into the late game, and if a Wild Mimo doesn't really get ahead.
It also depends on what Ezreal will be building,
Hmm.
because
That too, yeah.
if it's going to be the blue build, which is actually really common right now, it's going to be a long time before she was Bronze 5 gets ramped up. But on the blue team, we do see kind of like a gap closing squad. They're looking at Elise, Leona, and maybe if you can insect with Tristana, but they're really looking at Leona and Elise to kind of initiate, and then great follow up from Victor if they can get like a chain CC going. That's
Yeah,
really what they're looking for here.
yeah. Interestingly, it is actually a top Udyr.
Hmm.
It could be Phoenix top lane Udyr, which would be very interesting. It would be good against Shen, mostly because of how much push and wave control you have. You can do a lot of damage against the Shen early. Doesn't have a lot of wave clear. Feels a lot like that Nasus matchup, where he'll be happy to farm along the tower, but if you're not shoving quick enough, you're not going to have enough damage to take that tower down early, and then you're slowly going to lose. They have very strong lanes all the way across on this blue team here, whereas on the purple team, it does seem more of like that defensive composition, and they're going to have, the lanes maybe on the back foot as well. And once this team gets snowballing on the blue side, they've got so much engaged, so much damage. They'll really be able to start cleaning up. The thing that I really want to point out, though, is of course we have the Morgana shield, and that can stop everything dead in its tracks if everything's lined up well by Bronze Pillow.
I I do have to mention that whenever we're in these tournaments, we do have to talk about the specific elos of some of these
Yeah, for
players.
sure.
So, AWildMimo being the jungler for the purple team is going to be putting up a lot of presence for this. You were saying how this team kind of lacks damage, but AWildMimo is going to have to be in every single lane. He's going to have a huge presence
Yeah.
in order
Thank God
to.
he's in Italy.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
But on the blue team, Phantom seems to be the most highest rated player.
I
So
think
maybe.
it's I Phantom or Fade Away. I'm not 100% sure. Can't remember exactly.
Nevertheless, AWildMimo really needs to focus on that mid lane, anyways.
Hmm.
It gives him more of a reason to, especially with Victor on with cleanse. They're gonna have a hard time, even if they do get a nice combo with Oriana's ultimate. He's still gonna be able to somehow maybe get away, possibly. I don't know. We'll see, but it's going to be interesting to see where AWildMimo puts a lot of his attention on, or if he decides to just put Elise into the ground. Like
Hmm.
it really, he has freedom of style in this particular case. But it's interesting to see what he decides to do. And I mean, he could even try to get Ezreal ahead, or try to get Ezreal snowbally to speed up that blue build.
Yep.
But or he can just if Udyr is behind, that's great. That's phenomenal. Because a behind Udyr is just going to split push, and you can have 5v4s all day.
Yep.
All day.
Yeah. Crucially, we gotta take a look at the summoner spells as well. We got double teleport coming up from their purple team again. The more defensive option here, but they will be able to stockpile, I guess, or
Yeah?
what do they call it in football, where everyone kind of
Dogpile?
they'll dogpile on the
Yeah.
bottom lane. Have that surprise. Hey, look, we have 5 people down here. Whereas, iPhantom might be cut off if he doesn't have the vision control. He might not be able to roam as quickly,
Hmm.
and you could see some big issues there because that as soon as an Ezreal gets going and he's got all of these defensive, he actually does snowball pretty quickly because he's allowed to play quite aggressively.
Hmm. We are about to head into the game. If you guys want purple team to win, I guess you can give shout-outs to AWildMimo. But if you do want the blue team to win, you can give shout-outs to Fadeaway or iPhantom, and we'll see who takes this. The first game of Solo Queue Legends 4. This is going to be group stage.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's good to be back, man. These
Yeah.
games are hype. Right now, we're kind of in the stage where we're feeling out the teams,
Yeah.
seeing who's going to be strong. Because all these guys do have big names on their teams. They've got some of the best players in Canada on their teams. For example, AWildMimo. Take a look at him. He's a Masters player. He's a Challengers player, and he has been forever, and has been so good at these tournaments forever. But as we jump into the game, it pretty much turns into anyone's show here because it is the solo queue legend. And AWildMimo might be solo queue legend on the live realms, but right here, maybe he doesn't show up. maybe it is Nike Duff on that Tristana. Maybe it is Fade Away on that Elise.
Looks like a little bit of a standard start coming out from red side, kind of like the fan spread to see if to block any entrances, to see where the teams might funnel through. But blue team kind of sticking together in the bottom side of the map. Maybe a little bit of a standard start, but really what's been prominent in the meta these days is a double jungle start and then take top turret or take bot turret, kind of like a little bit of a early rotation, and then top lane always gets a little bit behind. But looks like it's just going to be a standard start. Udyr actually invading the red side jungle. Balls of steel on this guy.
I want to see what he is picked up for his spells. So it looks like he's going to be Tiger. So when you're playing as Tiger Udyr, of course, you can prep your Q, essentially. So it will give you the initial burst damage on your buff, and then you can attack it again. And it does quite a bit of damage, allows you to clear that camp very quickly. And he was able to sneak his way into the opposing team's jungle, which is pretty hilarious. They were able to see, where that Nidalee was starting. She did walk over the ward right away, and it looks like it's going to be a 3 buff here for the blue team, and not a bad start.
That's going to... I don't think it'll tilt AWildMimo, but it's definitely going to put him kind of like in an interesting state. He's going to be definitely a little bit behind, but Udyr actually might fall to this red buff. We'll see what happens.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing.
But seeing iPhantom enter the lane from that top side like that does mean that AWildMimo will know that he has potentially been counter jungled. At the very least, there's vision. And if he doesn't see the Elise, he might think that the Elise was up there, so he might waste some time as well going down to the red buff. It's kind of a tricky situation for him to be in. Maybe a little bit of mind games for my Phantom.
A little bit of aggression in the mid lane. I did want to talk a little bit about the bot lane. Ooh, this is actually going to be really good for Udyr. He's going to be able to get his Thunderlord's proc going. And he already got an early level 2, and he's got the Corrupting Potion, and he's got red buff, and he's got the Tiger Dots. Like, he is hurting right now, and the wave is pushing in his favor. He can just freeze it there, and Shen is going to be in a tough spot.
Yeah, Tiger Eater is crucial too because he does a lot of magic damage with his kit. It seems like it's physical, but it is actually magic damage. Plus, the red buff does do that true damage. Just cuts through tank classes like Shen.
Ooh, but even though AWildMimo got a little bit of a counter jungle, he's waiting, and then here comes the snare. The spear does land, but the flash comes out from Leona. The double jump from AWildMimo. They're going to turn their attention to Mike Duff, and the spear does connect. Shen gets the taunt in the top lane. Tanks a turret shot, but Udyr gets first blooded by Shen, and that's going to be a phenomenal 1v1. We missed that because of the bot lane, but that is going to tilt him to the maximum.
Yeah, I would say so. Ooh, good try for the binding to clean up there. Good just zoning with that ward as well. Top lane, I feel like it must have just been some sort of mistake with the wave control there. Bottom lane, I think we're going to see a dive here, which is very interesting. We have flashes available for all 3 of the purple team, whereas we do have it burned on the Leona. There is an exhaust available.
Ooh, here it comes, the
waves.
waves.
Let's see how they juggle this this aggro. Don't forget, this is solo queue. They don't have everyone's experience.
The snare
here.
lands. The heal comes out. Leona does fall to AWildMimo, and they actually tank. Morgana, I think, tanked a couple of those shots.
This is so good, actually, from the red team here. They, having AWildMimo able to make the calls, you can tell it's him just based off the way that he's moving around this jungle. He knew that his red buff was taken. He didn't care. He's like, all right, sure, whatever, guys. We're just going to set up bottom lane and, just absolutely outplay you guys. Not only give you a super big tilt factor by, making you lose all that CS, but also pick up a kill on your AD carry.
I do have to mention that in the top lane, Udyr is winning in CS, but that doesn't really matter if Shen's got a kill on him because it kind of evens out. But Udyr has decided to, I think, switch over to Phoenix stance because he lost his kind of momentum, right? Which is a good way to kind of come back into things. He'll probably end up being building really tanky because now he's like, okay, my Tiger stance didn't work out. The plan was decent, but now I need to, refocus, right? And that's why I think he went into Phoenix stance.
Yeah, maybe we'll see some proxy Udyr. Shoutouts to Hotshot GG back in the day. Pretty much every time we do these solo queue legends, I always have to shout out Hotshot GG. I love that guy.
Ooh, Nike Duff.
Yeah, crucial. He doesn't have a heal, but he does have his jump and a flash. But he's chunked out now. He'll have to go back And just take a look at how much of an advantage Ezreal has here, not only in CS, but also in that
Rotations
experience.
to the mid lane. Flash does come out from Orianna. Great rotation from Udyr there. He knew, you know, actually he walked over a ward. I think it was just, you know, miscommunication on that part where they were just like, oh, Udyr is probably doing the scuttle crab, but instead he rotated towards the mid lane.
Yeah. Mimo clearing up some vision in the top lane, trying to get some control back for his vision, or sorry, for his laner in the top lane. Maybe trying to set up just around there so that he can move lower towards the map. And that seems to be what the plan is right now. Clearing out his jungle. I expect to see a lot of people down bottom lane as soon as level 6 comes.
I'm really surprised to see Shen just absolutely bullying this Udyr. Udyr had generally the advantage. He had everything going for him. He had the buff. He had the spell. He took level 2 stun. He took the bear stance. It just didn't pan out. I think he just got too aggressive, and we weren't really paying attention because of the fight in bot lane. But that's it. Like, Shen's definitely got the lead now. And it's interesting to see this new Shen do fairly well. The new reworked Shen, so to say. And like you said, level 6 coming around. Shen is level 6. Nidalee in the bot lane. They're waiting for it. They're really waiting for it. At least there as well. But look at the vision from blue team. They're expecting it just like you are. And that's why they kind of like, you know what? Let's try to get Nike Duff really, really big. He's down 10 CS, but we got to try to get him back. So what they do, they ward up the river. Nidalee's got no way to get in.
Yeah, that's actually really, really good. I love to see that from those guys. And they are able to sneak up there, at least into that bush as well. This is the first time that that wave really has been pushed. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're able to find anything, but they do see the Nidalee, so maybe they will. A strong counter gank potential. Mimo senses that something's up and will back off. Very, very good play from this Elise, I would say. Just getting those words out and setting up her team just to be in a position, you know, as soon as they get out of this lane phase and they get into a situation where they start team fighting, and they're able to find their skill shots, they're able to find their picks, their dives, and I feel like they should have a lot more advantage than they do right now. They're kind of just on the back foot because their lane's losing. That's the only reason.
I also want to mention that, you know, Orianna and Victor haven't really seen much play as of late. I mean, I think Victor, even in more particular, he kind of fell off after the meta kind of shifted. And I think it's a little bit more poke focused nowadays. Corki is like in the mid lane 24/7. And
Yeah.
I think the team fight kind of mentality's shifted towards the top lane with like Poppy or like Malphite, and like the CC now kind of relies on the top lane as opposed to the mid lane, and the mid lane has become more focused around like poking and damage. So it's going to be interesting to see how Victor, you know, because I haven't seen Victor in like in a really long time, so
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see how he affects the team fights and how he positions himself.
Yeah, he still definitely does a lot of damage, but you're definitely right in terms of, you know, he's very much like an Orianna, where he just has his standard damage, you know, puts it out, safe all the way, has no bad matchups really, and we can see that in the mid lane right now. He's, you know, 5 CS down from Orianna, no big deal. If he can line up those abilities, though, and follow up on that Leona CC, oh my gosh, that's devastating.
Udyr comes around again, at least making her way to the mid lane as well. And the flash comes out, but the ultimate doesn't connect, and iPhantom picks that one up.
Very nice play by that Udyr to, you know, just absolutely dominate his lane. That's why Phoenix is so good. You can push Shen in. Shen didn't use his ultimate there.
He could have.
Definitely a little bit of a mistake from him. You know, you got to be a little bit more aware when you're playing these global champions. You got to get that practice in on solo queue. You know, playing Karthus, playing Shen, playing Soraka, anything like that. You just always got to have your eye on a map, and it's good training actually for you guys out there if you're interested in working on your map awareness. Playing a global champion like that to a high skill level really helps your gameplay.
Looks like we're a little bit of a slow part of the game. I think both teams are kind of just farming up, doing what they can.
I would like to see this bottom lane play a lot more aggressive here. You know, the Leona can only hit one person, and obviously
pinched in. Jump comes out from Tristana, and the jump over by AWildMimo. The ultimate comes out, but doesn't stun up Nidalee, and she picks that one up. Great rotation, and now they're going to just take the dragon.
Yep.
Simple objective.
Doesn't even really matter if they play aggressive. They've got their jungler in the right spot at the right time. and they will pick up that dragon, just like you said. You know, we gotta actually keep a big eye on that top lane, Rift Herald as well, because we need to make sure that this. If the Udyr does pick up the Rift Herald, it's going to be a big deal. He's going to have so much more push into that Shen, and he's not really going to be able to do anything. Thing is, you do need help up there, so Elise would have to move her way up to that Rift Herald to, you know, expose the eye and whatnot. Make it a little bit easier.
WildMimo finds a wild Elise. Here comes the ultimate from Shen. They turn it around, but the stun does connect. Huge ultimate comes out from Orianna. The teleport comes in from Udyr. A fadeaway gets taken away by Shen, and here comes the turnaround onto Shen. AWildMimo pokes around, but not going to be able to do a whole lot. Hallucinator looking for that Nidalee, but now he bit off a little bit more than he can chew. Flash is used. They turn it around onto Orianna. Tristana comes in from the south. They pick that one up, and classic Udyr just between turrets running through, but that's not going to last too long. Turns it around. Seventh Eye Heaven picks that one up.
Yeah, he needed to spam a few more emotes there, I think. Massive plays by AWildMimo. Able to read that aggression so well from the Udyr. Baited him in. Got his team an extra kill there. Love to see that kind of play.
I think that was a two for one.
A twofer.
A twofer. I think that was a 2-for-1. Elise and Udyr did fall, and they did pick up the Orianna. It was a 2-for-1 special. Kind of makes you want to have a little bit of Gino's pizza right now.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby.
It's early.
It's early.
But I'll, you know, I can go for Gino's anytime.
Yeah. Gino's is actually, you know, let's put the commentary on pause, but it's actually my favorite pizza brand.
It's pretty damn good, man.
Yeah.
I definitely have to agree with you. I have a couple little favorites of, you know, those little unique kind of places. Didn't the new pizza place just open up right by Ryerson?
It's phenomenal. I go every week.
I heard it's
like I haven't had another pizza brand since that.
Wow.
It's a build your own pizza. It's like so sick. And like there's so many options, and the only dessert they have is like a s'mores pie. It's just like the best.
Dang.
It's so good. And they treat, and like they're oop. Oh, but they, you know, while we were talking about pizza, it's called Blaze Pizza, by the way. It's it's really good.
Yeah, check it out. Young and Dundas.
Young and Dundas, Blaze Pizza. We're not sponsored by them or anything.
Yeah, we just love that shit.
We just love it.
I haven't had it personally, but I've heard good things.
You can find me at Blaze Pizza on Wednesdays. Wednesdays midday. That's usually when I'm there. 12 to 1 or 12 to 2. I'm there. You'll see me. But they did pick up the Rift Herald for Udyr. That's going to just absolutely
I love that shit.
Squeeze Shen's.
Almost as much as I love that pizza. It's just, I love seeing, I love like the goofy split pushers, man. Like Phoenix Udyr, and then you give them Mimo.
Oh, that damage though. But Victor getting caught between a rock and a hard place. Here comes the collapse from Nike Duffin.
Yeah, big time.
And Govlove. Ooh, but here comes the ultimate. She manages to jump over the wall, but the spear does land, not finishing off Tristana. And they just kind of poke back and forth. Udyr proxying like you said, but
that hotshot GG styles, man. Get in there, man. He needs to get into that Nexus tower right now because they're just going to leave him around. They're just going to leave him alone. He needs to get more than just one lane up.
Yeah, but you know what sucks is that he's got the Rift Herald. He's got the gonads of steel, but Shen is still able to 1v1 him.
Yeah.
And he's got...
That's the thing, man. Yeah. You just gotta
Sunfire Cape,
you gotta make him deal with it. Yeah, it's 3-0 Shen.
And he built a tier.
He's going for that late game build. I like that. I like that. He's stacking it up. Also, a little bit similar to Hotshot GG in those questionable item builds.
You know what?
Hallucinateer, though. Did we notice this? I don't think we did. Hallucinateer. This must be his signature style here.
Signature style. You know what? I think after he gave first blood, he started crying. To wipe away the tears.
Well, he's saving them for later. Saving them for later.
Yeah, I think they're kind of like revenge tears.
Oh my god.
They're like revenge tears. He's like stacking them up. He's stacking it up.
Guys, trust me. I got this. Guys, I got this. I got like 600 stacks in my tier right now. Don't even worry.
Whenever I cry, we win. Always. It always happens.
I wonder if he's going AP. I don't think so. He's probably going to turn that into a Muramana. which is goofy, but I dig it.
Yeah.
You know, it does do a lot of damage. I think he's. Okay, let's take a look at him. I'm actually really interested. Is he maxing his Phoenix? Yeah, he's maxing his Phoenix, and then Turtle second. So he's really just going for that lane, sustain that lane push. He's just going to have a lot of single target damage coupled with that AoE damage, I guess. It'll help him clear down the towers, maybe? I don't know if Miramona works on towers.
I don't think it does. I think I would have rather liked to have seen the Iceborne, because it would have given him a little bit of armor from Shen and the potential Ezreal threat that would be in the later stages of the game. And it would give him such good chase potential, because he would just Iceborne, 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 right? But you know what? Hallucinateer, you do you.
Yeah, man. You do your thing.
You.
You do your thing.
We're just commentators.
I dig it. I'm telling you, man. I want to see him go a couple towers deep. This is the dream right here.
Ooh, I think Abyssal being built for Nidalee there.
Oh,
Oh,
she's real strong.
Snare does connect. Here comes the ultimate. Night Dove having to jump out of there. No more mana. Oh, but the premature Ejaka ulti. Hallucinateer comes in again. The flash comes out. Oh, there it is. Here comes the ultimate. The huge ultimate actually only landing onto one person, but the ultimate turnaround from Victor. Not going to be doing a whole lot of damage. Orianna in the back line doing what she can. It's kind of... Oh, but that spear from downtown right between some minions' butt cheeks. And that's going to be a
Canadian sniper shooter.
Double kill.
Mark Wahlberg, is that you?
They're going to push down this turret.
Goodness. That was a hot shot GG play right there.
That was.
I mean, hot shot.
Whew. Oh, my goodness.
It's just everywhere, man, right now. These guys are on fire. They're hitting all their skill shots.
Woo!
Another one. Another one.
Another one.
It's just all good things for these guys. Business is booming right here for the red team.
Ooh, Leona giving Ezreal some gov love, but the turnaround, the snare flash has to come out. He goved a little more than he can love.
Yeah, I would say so.
Just a little bit of a mid-game update. It is 2-7 currently, with a 3K gold lead in favor of AWildMimo's team. They're going to take this dragon, which will give them a little bit of more reason to snowball or more momentum in their favor. I think. What do you think blue team needs? I think they need a group. I think they need a group.
I think that they're definitely in trouble here. I'll be honest with you. And it makes me think, hey, Hallucinateer, did I, if I'm fadeaway right now, did I do enough research on the players that I wanted to draft? Did I know that I would have a Phoenix-only Udyr who rushes tier on my team? Did I look at his match history? Did I? Was this something that I wanted to play with? Was this something I wanted to play against? Was this, something I wanted to build my team around? And if it was part of his strategy, then I think he is really kind of just, dropped the ball here. Because there's so much you can do with the Phoenix Udyr, and I haven't seen anything of it.
He has started to build the Spirit Visage. Maybe because of that Nidalee, trying to keep a little bit safe. But Nidalee's already so far ahead, especially with that Abyssal Scepter.
Triforce Ezreal too.
Ooh, here we go. The spear does connect, but will the taunt land? He actually turns it around. He's actually taking quite a bit of damage, but the stun does miss. Is going to turn favor over to the red side, but they're not going to collapse as Victor's making his way. Ooh, this Morgana snare after snare, and that's going to be the kill. She was bronze 5, giving Nike Duff the rundown. A little bit of a scuffle in the mid lane. Hallucinateer looking for that Rift Herald yet again, but
really, I do like what they're doing here on the blue team. Realistically, if they are going to win the game, they're going to need to play around a different lane. Bottom lane is just so snowballed, and they have all that global pressure, right? They need to play around mid. They need to play around. Oh man, Gov Love. These guys are just on separate base timers right now, so they keep going in 1v1 and needing to go back by the time the other person gets back. It's just really, really sloppy bottom lane play here. You really don't see the synergy coming up from these guys. Mimo back by the red buff once again.
Oh, but the spear did
connect. 4-0-2. He's just beasting right now. So much damage.
And you know what? Ooh, scuffle in the bot lane. Sharon comes down, but the stun does connect onto Udyr. The snare in the bot lane also connects onto Govlove. They're going to pick that one up. And in the jungle, we see AWildMimo having a little bit of a scuffle with the blue team. The spears are connecting left, right, and the center. But the Rift Herald... Oh, that's just a little bit of an update. Ooh, but the flash, great flash actually from Nike Duff, dodging that W from Nidalee. And she is running a little bit low on mana actually, so they're going to have to retreat out of the enemy jungle.
Think back to the blue line of wards that they had at the start of the game. They looked so good.
Oh my goodness, but the rocket jump almost was able to escape, but the E did finish off the Tristana. They're going to push down that bot lane turret.
There's just no control from
Yeah.
this blue team in their jungle anymore. They had such a good start, and they've just completely lost it all. This entire bottom side is now the property of AWildMimo.
If Elise, ooh, taunt under turbo, he is a little bit tanky.
I think he's getting desperate up here. I really do. He wants to get that tower. It's 20 minutes into the game. He's had Rift Herald. I'm telling you, man, you need to go deeper. You need to go deeper. If you want to make your top lane meter work, if you're 0-3, you got to do some freaking... you got to get those tier stacks, man. Go steal a red buff. Go steal a blue buff. I dig it, man. I dig it. You just gotta.
Yeah, I
just
think
gotta commit. You
yeah,
gotta take it all the way.
Yeah, I think he's.
You think Trick 2G would stay at that lane? You think he'd go 1 tower back? No, he'd go 2-3 towers back.
Yeah. You have to have Shen feeling safe at his inhibitor. He can't feel safe at his first turret.
Yep. Yeah, it's just he doesn't care. He'll be like, yeah, all right, whatever, great man. I'll just TP out here. What are you gonna do? Get 1 tower? You need to draw people top. You need to draw the Elise top. You need to draw, you need to draw the Nidalee top so that you can make plays elsewhere around the map.
You know what?
What are you gonna do?
You know what? I think do you think, like, he did a good job rotating towards mid lane.
Mm-hmm.
He did help Victor get 1 kill.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think he should have not done that and just focused top lane?
No, I think it was really good. I just think the second time he forced it too much. He felt like he was being a little bit desperate. Flash right away when the Orianna had flash, and didn't really respect the Shen ultimate.
Well, he did exactly what you said. He brought everybody top lane. He doesn't manage to get the turret. Hopefully the minions will get that. No, they won't. Hallucinateer having to run away, and Seventh Eye Heaven saving that bot lane. He's just 2v1ing preemptive ultimate. I think this game's over.
I mean, it was a really good lane swap coming out from this red team here. Moving their duo lane up to the top to deal with that Udyr. They knew they were going to lose their tower soon. They're going to lose their bottom tower now. And if the Shen can play safe, then you're Gucci. He's got 3 kills, 2 assists. He's strong. But Tristana's got great push too. And if they're able to find Shen in a position, then maybe she can get back into the game. But yeah, they just don't have enough damage to deal with how much gold these guys
the
have.
exhaust comes out. The taunt does land. Here comes the spear, and it does miss Nike Duff, and the heal comes out for that little bit of a movement speed. But the E is going to stop AWildMimo in his tracks. He manages to jump right in, right before the ultimate, and they get the snare onto GovLove. And from Russia with Love, GovLove does fall down. Double kill over to Nidalee, and they're just 3-0-4 Shen, 7-0-2 Nidalee. They're just, I think, AWildMimo first picked the perfect player that he could really ask for. Their synergy is absolutely phenomenal right now. The bot lane's doing really well, but here's the collapse onto Orianna in the mid lane. Great play, yeah.
Yeah, so, that's what you gotta do. You gotta bring attention to other lanes and then make plays on the cross side. Fadeaway should probably stay in Spider form.
Oh, look at the 2v1. He turns it around, almost going to get the kill onto iPhantom, but here's the ultimate from Seventh Eye Heaven, and they're going to Fadeaway's trying to escape, but
trying to fade away.
Much damage. Shen picks that one up with the Sunfire cape, and I think at this point, I think they're going to be serving their favorite meal, cold pasta a la GG.
Yeah, it's looking, onslaught here. I don't know if that's even the right word, but that's how I feel at least. Looks like they ate too much pizza, got too much grease on their keyboard.
Yeah.
Didn't have a good night's sleep. All these things, just going wrong for the blue team here. They're down a bunch of gold. They're down a whole bunch of kills. It's 25 minutes into the game. And maybe they can bounce back from this in the next series, but this one looks like it's about sealed.
You know what? I think one of the things that I'd like to talk about really quick before this game ends, because we are approaching really close to the end as, Shen goes balls to the wall here. Victor has never grouped, or they would never fight as 5, and I think maybe that's what they really missed.
He definitely needed that TP, I think. When you're playing against the Shen, you need to take the TP if you want to be,
Has Cleanse really helped him against the Nidalee? Not really.
No, he was thinking for that late game, and that's you can't do that in these solo queue Legends tournaments because there's gonna be those high elo players that just go ham.
Yeah, just like these guys here. The ultimate does come out onto Udyr. Gorilla here as well, putting out a lot of damage, but Hallucinateer actually taking quite a bit. But Ezreal cleans that one up.
So there's 4 people in the top lane now. 4 people from the red team. Mimo is the only one who's able to contest that dragon. But unfortunately,
It's not up.
they're not at the right place to be contesting right now. You know what I mean? They need to have a wave pushed up. They need to have some sort of objective. Why are you grouping up around dragon when dragon's not available, you know? Just a little bit of a goofy error there.
Not sure why the mouse keeps having a mind of its own, but maybe wants to watch that top lane.
Might be our spooky ghost of our own.
Ooh, AWildMimo caught out of position and shut down. Going over to Elise. Would have liked to see it on the Tristana, but you know, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, the Elise going for a little bit more of an aggressive build this game. Instead of going for maybe more of a tank build.
Whoa!
Whoa, here we go. Home
Here
guard,
we go.
CP.
Home guard. Unjir
Let's go.
being kited by Ezreal, but they get the connect and they're trying to get the kill. But Nike Duff in a little bit of trouble. Here comes 7th I Heaven. He gets the domination. They're gonna get the shutdown onto Ezreal. Fade away, trying to fade away out of that Shen zone. But here comes Orianna, doing what she can.
Yikes.
Will this be a 2v2 that they want to take? Leona and Udyr are falling dangerously low here. But here comes the turnaround onto Shen. I don't know why they changed targets, but oh, Govlove a little bit low. But here comes Elise. They're going to try to get the stun, but the shield from Morgana and the flash. Here comes Victor. He's looking for the kill, but he's not going to get it. They're going to pull out as much damage as they can. Italy making her way down the mid lane. That was an interesting fight, but unfortunately not entirely the cleanest. Ooh, fancy footwork. Phantom turns it around, dodges the oh my god, why would you do that to me, mouse? Dodges the snare. That was like phenomenal play. The fanciest of footwork. You know what? Oh, that's why.
Speaking of fancy footwork. Speaking of fancy footwork, we have we've been doing some love here. It's an early morning. Govlove. Is he going to give some love to AWildMimo? Doesn't look like it. She was bronze 5. Getting that red buff. He has gone for the Triforce build, so he does a ton of damage right now.
And he's got the Essence Reaver, which is actually a lot better this season than it was last season.
Oh, yeah.
It's being picked up by a lot of Lucians and Ezreals and Corkis.
Yeah,
so.
especially
fade away. Really, really tough spot, but he's going to try to turn it around. Tanks a lot for his team. Has the Iron lock into the Iron Solari. Great, just like place to put your W, Victor. AWildMimo's looking for it. He's going to turn around. The ultimate flashes out of it. Beautiful flash. Fade away gets taken away by 7th I Heaven. They're going to turn it around into Govlove. No more ultimate. Here comes the poke from Ezreal, just way too much. And the Nidalee poke as well is doing tons of damage. But they're going to retreat back into their base. Ooh. Missing.
Dangerous. They've overextended. Can this be a turnaround? They've got no cooldowns, though, and just no damage here.
Ooh, gets the kill onto Hallucinateer. Will they, though? The fadeaway spear. He's doing so much to just juke it around. He's still being chased by the Shen. He's actually not going to fall. The Spirit Visage is going to give him a lot of regen. I thought he was going to get taken down.
Yeah,
but
he didn't run out of mana, that's for sure.
That's good. Yeah, that's... But this will be a rotated... mid lane turret as they tried the top lane, but it wasn't working out. Huge ultimate, absolutely Nike duffed to oblivion. Govlove taken away by Ezreal. They're going to get this mid lane turret and inhibitor. Phantom doing what he can. The snare does miss by Morgana. Oh, but huge ultimate. Will they be able to flash out? He does flash out. Fade away using the repel. Here's the ultimate from Shen. Not sure why, but they will get Orianna pretty healthy. Here comes the home guards. They turn it around onto 7th I Heaven. Will he fall? He's tanking so much damage, but shut down. Going over to Victor.
No. Speaking of which, is this the comeback? No.
No, this was just a little bit of a misplay from Red Team. I think they overextended a little bit.
A little bit. I mean.
But nevertheless, even though it's 6-20, even though it's 10k down, even though 4 turrets down and they're down 3 dragons, this Udyr...
He's got the only turret for his team.
He's the only one that's giving me
a chubby?
the time of my life. The time of my life.
He got the only objective in the game for the Rift Herald. He got the only objective from the game at the top lane tower. And he's drawn a lot of attention to himself.
You know, he
at
really,
least from us.
He makes My Little Dicky a professional rapper.
Nice. Nice. That was a sick reference, bro.
Real sick.
Everyone knows you got the dopest references.
Sometimes they're a little bit out of control, but you know,
Mhm.
I acknowledge when the hot sauce is drenched in pizza.
Interesting. The hot sauce is drenched in pizza.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. Ooh, 4th dragon here. Not to be confused with 5th dragon.
Or third.
Or 2nd. But Elise! Oh!
Nice fadeaway.
Oh, Nike Duff, what are you doing? Here's the heal. They're going to do exactly the right thing here. Huge ultimate. AWildMimo will get stuck right between the Leona ultimate. They're turning it around onto Orianna. Huge ultimate. They get the kill, and they're doing quite a bit, but Shen has come late to the party. AWildMimo is in a little bit of trouble, but he's actually able to sustain so much. He gets the kill onto Nike Duff, but Victor picks that one up, and that was good.
That was great.
That was great.
Yeah,
that was
just
really
able to pile up in a situation where, you know, Victor W, Victor ult, Leona ult, everything just does so much damage in that tight corridor. And she was bronze 5, wasn't able to get any damage out.
And you know what? I think, ooh, the stun does connect, but the shield, I think there's a possibility for a comeback. But you want to know what's the only thing that will keep blue team from winning?
Tell me.
Morgana spell shield. It's the only thing. I mean, if Morgana starts to, you know...
Hey, man. We just got to see this tier be built into Muramana. And it'll take care of that, no problem. Because Phoenix does do magic damage, you know.
It's true. It's true.
Speaking of which.
Ooh, he's
Speaking of some magic.
He's playing like an Udyr.
Yeah,
He's getting a lot of people towards that top lane, and he's able to escape.
He's sub to Trick2G stream. You know he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a mod. He's got mod status. He's got the t-shirt. If we head on down there, we might even see Trick2G himself.
I bet you what happened is probably Fado is like, he drafted this guy and was like, nah, you're not playing jungle here. You need to go top.
Just go I'm jungling.
Yeah.
He's like, fine.
All right, dude, whatever. He's a team player.
I'll play Kindred
You know,
top,
he's
whatever.
like, I've always wanted to build tier on my Udyr. And now is my chance. I could never fit it into my jungle build before.
You know what? I gotta say, I have tears of joy. This guy's bringing me tears of joy.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Like, it looks like they're building up a little bit of MR as well. They're getting tankier. They're getting in the position where they can contest some of these objectives.
Yeah.
Really, they should just kind of group up and push and use those spears. I think if they get into a fight in the jungle again, they could have trouble, especially, you know, take a look at the map. Ezreal's down bottom.
It's 1-3-1 right now, kind of. Shen is going to be able to show up to that bot lane, but I think Tristana is going to need to get out of there because the collapse is actually happening right now.
The collapse is real. It's like the housing market.
Whew!
Back in America, 2009, 2010.
This guy brought back the second Great Depression, not the first.
Well, how close are we to this Great Depression being done? The tiers will end.
Ooh, we're fully stacked. We just don't have the materials.
Ooh.
We're gonna have to keister sows. Greed is good. Those resources. There's no spoon. If you guys are familiar with Warcraft 3, those are some cheat codes.
Heck yeah.
Hallucinateer. He
Black
has
Squall.
2 people in the top lane.
DMCA
Ooh,
caught out.
baby! The Leona does connect onto Orianna. They're going to do exactly what they can, but Nike Duff actually took too much damage there. Oh, baby! The flash comes out from Gorillas. They're going to turn it around here. Udyr taking 2 people in the top lane. I think Shen tried to ultimate, but he wasn't able to. Actually, no, his ultimate's still up. Let's take a look down in that bot lane. What's going on down there? They're still poking around. Udyr is actually running away as fast as he can, but I think blue team's a little bit low.
Get into that base, man. Start pushing those waves, man. Get in there. Start proxying. You got to bring more people top. You got to say he needs to defend. Like, him doing race right now is super bad. He needs to either be pushing mid to prevent this tower from being pushed in, or he needs to be somewhere else and just, you know, make people back up by pushing waves.
Yeah, I think red team was in a really, really good position there. They were able to... Oh, but here comes the turnaround. I think he didn't expect him to be going that way, but he's as good as dead, and that's actually game. That like, Leona's low.
Can he please build something out of that tier? Please.
Oh, they're going to get this inhibitor. Shen's pushing down that top lane. And they decide to retreat, probably for Baron. Oh no, they're rotating towards that top lane.
See, okay, here's the thing. If you're going to build tier just because you want to have mana, why wouldn't you build Chalice?
It's true.
You know
You get that magic resist?
Yeah, man. You can turn it into that the Crucible
Oh, huge ultimate from Gorillas. The spear doesn't connect from Nidalee, but the turnaround ultimate from Victor. Unfortunately, there's no CC there to keep that ultimate in place, but it still did tons of damage to the enemy team that might deter their advance onto this top lane turret. Victor did recall. They should rotate towards the Baron now.
This is kind of interesting here coming from this blue team. They're definitely
Yeah.
having trouble closing out the game against them. And there's room for a comeback here. 1-8 Tristana does still do damage in the late game. That's for damn sure.
I also think what this team needs to do is protect Tristana and protect Victor. Victor has been doing, I think if we take a look at the end of the game, he'll have done probably most of the damage.
For sure.
And he's also probably he's the most farmed in the entire game.
They're just so squishy on the blue side too, or on the red side too.
Yeah.
Really, they've only got that one tank. So if they're able to find any sort of good Leona engage, he can just mount the entire team.
And also, something to note, very, very important for this team, on top of the fact that they're very, very squishy, Shen has no MR. Like, Locket of the Iron Solari doesn't give you that much magic resist, whereas the enemy team is more well-rounded.
Yeah, it is great that he did pick up that Locket. Definitely props to him for that, though. Really will reduce a lot of that AoE damage coming out from Victor.
They managed to push in this mid lane turret, but Shen bites off a little bit more than he can chew in the face of the team. Nike Duff a little bit low from that little. I think he got poked out by Nidalee there. They are going to take this 5th dragon though. Tristana has to recall. That's it. With 5th dragon, what they need to do is rotate Baron, and then they just push in. That's all they really need to do.
Yeah, if they find a fight here too, that would be huge. Looks like they will not. They do land the spear, and the spear does have jeez. Rylai's. Sorry. It does have Rylai's, which will slow them down. Notice my Lord towards Baron.
Ooh, no, that's it. This is game. Like, if blue team comes back from this, I say they take the entire tournament.
I think that if we see this tier be built into something, they have a chance.
Well,
otherwise,
he's got that Trinity Force.
Yeah, no, he's doing damage now.
But I think they needed a tankier Udyr rather than.
He's kicking ass and taking names.
I wonder what this game would have been like if Udyr had Iceborne.
You know. No, man. I don't know. I don't know if it would have made much of a difference.
You know, Udyr, take red buff. We're being pushed in top lane. Just take it.
Yeah.
Just take it. We don't need it. Just take it.
And it all started from level 1, where he died, or level 2, I guess, when he died to that big.
His love for red. Ooh, but he's doing the pinch right now. I call this one the pinch.
The flank.
He's making them hallucinate with his tears. He's hallucinating.
This is a pincer movement right here.
Ooh, baby. Nike Duff poking out the Nidalee.
Is he going to go in?
Oh, here comes the pinch. They're already in the base. Huge ultimate from Orianna. Going to pick up Nike Duff. There's the damage. But the huge ultimate comes out from Leona. That's not going to be enough. Udyr in the back line pinching as much as he can.
Pinching himself. Is this a dream? Is this a dream?
Oh my God. He's still pinching. The pins. Oh, he's burning them. Bernie Sanders in the building. But that's going to be game. Red team. Blue team played phenomenally, though, I must say. They had me at
Phoenix, you hear Bernie Sanders with the left wing.
What? The left Phoenix wing.
Yep.
Wow. What a great way to start Solo Queue Legends 4.
Yeah, man.
I gotta say.
Savage play coming out here. From
that was phenomenal.
And, you know, at the end there, you know, seeing that flank, it just shows the disconnect between this team. And I took a little bit of look just a second ago, and I did realize that this team on the blue side was actually a bot drafted team. So it wasn't Fadeaway necessarily building his team the way that he wanted it to be. It was just a matter of, you know, things unfolding the way that they unfolded. And at the end there, when you see an Udyr pinching from the side, it really shows you the issue that they're going to have as a team, because Udyr needs to be a front line. He's not an assassin, you know, and he's trying to get into the back line where he really just needs to be delaying the front line. But yeah, like you said, that Victor just absolutely doing monstrous damage this game. Every opportunity and every look they had was in a situation where it was tight quarters, where he could get a bunch of damage out, and that was really the only way they could win.
And as you can see, what something that gives me a little bit of a heart attack is that Tristana had one of the lowest damages
Hmm.
in the game. If Tristana was not focused out, or if
I think
Tristana,
that's really because of Mimo, man.
maybe, yeah, you think
Mimo
so?
was such a beast in the early game and really put her on the back foot.
Yeah. Well, we are going to get into the next game shortly. Don't you go anywhere. This was a great first game, and we'll be right back.
Yep.